Hi, Vivek.
Hey, how's been the day so far?
It's all right for me, actually. I just moved to Mountain View, so I'm new to Mountain View, California.
Oh, okay. Where did you
Yeah.
move from?
So I moved from Denmark. So I got
Okay.
married. My wife is based in California, so I moved. I'm from Singapore, was in Denmark, and I moved here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, no. Welcome to Bay Area.
Thank you.
Pretty exciting place. It's a melting pot, and
Yeah.
even though we have a lot of other hubs coming up, but in my opinion, I think Bay Area is still the hub of innovation, and so pretty
Yeah.
exciting things happening here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, how did you get into crypto, or get interested in crypto?
So I have I have a close friend who's really into it, and hear him talking about it quite a lot. I'm just getting into it, so I think it's one of those things um, where I think it's going to be sort of mainstream, and you kind of need to have general knowledge about it, and in the future. So I think anyway, I'm just interested as well to see what's it about and all that. So
True. I mean, this is one of the things which will be here. It will be here to stay, just like
yeah,
internet has stayed, even though earlier it was dismissed, saying, what can you do on internet? Maybe it would just replace a fax machine. That was the initial comment around the internet. Because you couldn't send pictures. The only thing you could send was some text, at max some email. But look where we are. So
yeah,
eventually, things will start to do a lot more things on in decentralized world, Web 3.0, but it's just a start. That's why it got me interested. I'm always interested in learning about what's new happening in the tech world. So I thought,
yeah,
okay, let's learn about this thing. Let's be on forefront to understand how this is going to change the world. So that's why we
yeah,
started this meetup, because it's it's not one person for to learn everything, and this world is changing so fast. So I thought maybe let's learn with the rest of the community.
yeah. That's a good idea.
That's the whole idea.
Yeah.
All right, team. So my plan was for today. I think last week someone asked about Kadena, so I spent some time on Kadena. Wasn't able to spend as much as I would like to, because especially on the job side, we had some lot of tight work schedule this week. Year end coming up, budgets and all that stuff going around. But I did spend some time to look at Kadena, so we'll talk about it. But before that, let's look into the generally what's happened in the market. I don't know, it's not all green, and let's look at what happened in the funds flow, and then we'll go from there. It's an open session. Any questions, or you want to talk about some of the projects that you are exploring, most welcome. This is, I mean, the whole reason is that we want to learn from each other, and the best way to learn is to ask questions or participate in it. So let it not be a monologue. It would be great if we could convert into discussions. All right, so let's a couple of things things that caught my eye, and some of these things happen only in web 3 world. It just boggles my mind in terms of some of the things that I saw. So we'll get to that. First, let's look at the weekly funds flow report. So this is the report as of last week. So it doesn't account for what's happening in this week. So we'll only get to know and talk about it next week in terms of what the big funds did. But again, it's been a consecutive weeks, or 13th consecutive week, wherein the institution money actually flowed into crypto. So this week we saw a total 151 million. Last week 151 million actually flew into crypto, were added into crypto economy. Again, when I say crypto economy, mostly it's those institution trusts, or it's the ETFs or other instruments that are attracting funds. These are not the funds that retail investors are placing into various crypto assets. So overall 151 million addition. So total year-to-date inflows is now $9 billion. And overall, if you look at the full market cap, it's now 2.61. At some part of the time last week, it was over $3 trillion. So it's been weak in past few days. Well, that's okay. This is a pretty volatile asset anyway. In 5%, 10%, 15%, 20% drawdowns, we should get comfortable with 15, 20% drawdowns if we want to be invested in this particular asset. Right? Again, Bitcoin still see a majority of inflows, even though there are a lot of news will be generated by some other so-called altcoins, and every altcoin have their own weekly flavor. We looked at last week, we looked at it was Tron that institutions were interested in. Some week it will be Solana that will be talked about a lot in the media, but from institution perspective, again, even this week also it was a Bitcoin. There's a total inflow of 98 million. So almost 60-70% of the inflow actually went to Bitcoin. And the altcoins, it was Cardano's turn. The last week it was Tron, and now this week it was Cardano that a lot of institutional money went in. And I can understand why. It is because their first decentralized exchange, work happening on that one. No confirmed timeline from the decentralized exchange, which is SundaeSwap, which is being built on Cardano blockchain. The idea is maybe by end of this year is when they will launch, right? So I think it's all in anticipation of launch of the DEXs and launch of Cardano's stable coin, and based on that anticipation, maybe some institutions they want to pick up the Cardano for now. Again, this is all based on I would say hope, because SundaeSwap has yet to be available for public use. So it's all based on, hey, maybe once it is available, it's gonna be great. Everyone will jump on and start using that DEX and won't use, let's say, Solanas, or won't use any of these Uniswaps. Or, I mean, it's for us, there is no new innovation in terms of the features. I guess in terms of features, functionality, it's a DEX is a DEX, but we'll have to see how why and how that DEX being built on ADA is better than others. Of course, one is of course around fee, but I think again, my take is that if your unique selling proposition, if your USP is that, hey, we have a less fee, we are cheaper, that won't be, that's not a long-term competitive advantage for any blockchain. So either they have to find some other way to stay relevant. Otherwise, from a fee perspective, Ethereum could also see a reduction in fee once ETH 2.0 proof of stake is launched. So I don't know what all other blockchains are going to do, whose only claim to fame is that, hey, it's a zero fee or it's minimal fee. And if you move anything on Cardano, it hardly costs anything. So it's pretty cheap from a fee perspective. But I don't think that's gonna carry them through for the next few years. Ziftis is interesting because ADA has been stagnant and even down. I think it is right now, it is down because of the whole market has been down. But yeah, it's been stagnant. Some part of a time, let's go to ADA and look at. It used to be number 3 in market cap. Now it is number 6. So of course, this is not, it's not his best, one of the best days anyway. So some part of the time it was actually above, hit briefly above 3. This was, I think, their all-time high in early September. And after that, it's been just sideways. And this last week, I think it's the whole market is weak. So I won't just blame just on Kadena, but yeah, it's been just trading sideways. And I think it went high in anticipation of the launch of their smart contracts platform, because they didn't have a smart contract prior to that. So the smart contracts were just launched in September. And now, and I think that was where in the anticipation of a launch, it went high. And then they realized, okay, now you have a capability, but there are not many projects which are available, which users can use. So the adoption wasn't there. So all that enthusiasm died down, and it's been trading sideways. Again, so unless there is adoption on any blockchain, things will just, I mean, it just won't move. It could be a short-term pump in any coin, but eventually it has to be adopted by masses. And something that's got adopted may not be the best tech. That's a strange part, because it's all about community, all out of adoption. If most of the folks, majority of the folks want to go towards a technology or towards a blockchain, which is not the best in terms of tech, but has the most adoption, that blockchain will survive. So, which is, we'll see. Though there are a lot of claims that Kadena makes, and like Kadena, Polkadot, Solana, these are all called Ethereum killers, so-called Ethereum killers. We'll have to see how many of them survive, or whether Ethereum will continue to survive for in coming future. What do you think of another question Zifty asks, what do you think of the BTC Taproot launch from a technical perspective? Will it have an impact on ETH? So for those who are not keeping track on the Bitcoin, so on the Bitcoin ecosystem, we had the biggest upgrade to Bitcoin network since mid of 2017. So it's almost just over 4 years. It's the first biggest upgrade after 4 years. Bitcoin has been very slow in terms of any new innovation. That's one reason the detractors of Bitcoin gives up. There's not many innovation happening on this. We didn't have any upgrades. Meanwhile, Ethereum did a lot of upgrades. They recently did EIP 1559 as well. And now we're going to have a next one is a proof of stake. Prior to that, it was an initiation of a beacon chain, moving to proof of stake. After that, they got a sharding to be done. Bitcoin, not much happening. But I think, again, it depends on what the community is focusing on in Bitcoin. I don't think they want to make quick changes and create issues. So their motto is not, unlike many Silicon Valley companies, which believe in build fast, fail fast, learn fast, and improve fast, right? I think Bitcoin, they just don't want to fail. So they've been very cautious in implementing any changes. But Taproot is the one change that went live now. The change was done in May or sometimes, and then there was a whole voting from miners to activate and confirm when the change will actually get activated in on the blockchain. So the code has been pushed out a few months ago, and I think it was somewhere in August that we got the minimum number of yeses from the miners and the overall hash power perspective, that the Taproot was locked. So now the Taproot was locked, means after 3 months, it will get activated. So I think we had talked about it earlier, saying that it will get activated in November. So now we are in November, so gosh, I sometimes lose the whole track of the time, because it's 2021 has gone up so fast. Anyway, coming back to this, yeah. So now we are in November, so Taproot actually got activated. Now there are few things that are coming in Taproot. Maybe if I can go back and look at, hopefully, I hope I remember those, but if not, maybe I'll go back and look, refers the previous documentation on what's happening in the Taproot. So one of them is related to make it more private. So today in a Bitcoin ecosystem, when anyone does a transaction, the the public key. So if I do a transaction, my key is over there. Or if, for example, we do a transaction, it's a multi-sig transaction. So you will see that it is signed by 5 private keys, or it is signed by 3 private keys. Right? And even though you don't know who those keys could be, but this itself, the fact that a transaction has been signed by 5 private keys, does give us some information. What does it tell me? If I see on a blockchain, if I see a transaction signed by 5 keys, it means, this transaction is maybe coming from, it may not be coming from retail. It might be a transaction initiated by an institution, maybe by a family office. That's a metadata that is valuable. It's so that's it's a little bit of a breach of privacy. You can get a little more information from the transaction looking at how many keys were used to sign it. So one improvement that has gone in Taproot is use of Schnorr signatures. Schnorr was a German cryptographer, and he created a different signature scheme in which, and again, I'm not a cryptographer. I don't have any, haven't spent any time in cryptography, but I just got interested because, hey, I started looking and getting deeper into all this crypto economy. But what Schnorr signature does is it'll basically pick up those all 5 signatures or the keys and run its logic and create one single key. So now every transaction, irrespective of whether it's a multi-sig, 2 of 3 multi-sig, 5 of 7 multi-sig, 7 of 11 multi-sig, irrespective of that, all transactions that have been signed after that Taproot upgrade will have one key. So it became a little more private. So Taproot ensures a little more privacy. Secondly, if you have 5 keys and signed by 5 private keys, the amount of a space that gets consumed on the blockchain, of course, you need to have more space. And the most scarce resource on Bitcoin blockchain is the space. Or in any blockchain, the most valuable resource is the space. Why we are paying so much in ETH gas fee? Because we want our NFT or a transaction to be recorded on Ethereum blockchain. All I'm using is a space on the blockchain. So space is the most valuable resource on Bitcoin blockchain. Now, because of this Schnorr signature, the amount of data that gets into a particular transaction is less, because now I don't have to put all the 5 signatures. I have to just put one. That one has been derived out of those 5, but then you put only one, and that means you can add in little more transactions into the block. So it will save space. It will also make Bitcoin a little faster, because now if I were only able to add 10 transactions in a block, because the block has got a limited space, Bitcoin block is 1 MB in size, now I can add more. It means instead of having, say, 10 transactions, now we can do more transactions in the same amount of a time in which a block is mined. So it'll make Bitcoin a little faster. So more private, faster. And the third one is you can do little more things with Bitcoin, because with this latest upgrade, they've also introduced a tap script, which means you can actually do some more scripting on Bitcoin blockchain. So unlike Ethereum uses Solidity, Turing complete language. You can write all the smart contracts on Ethereum. Unfortunately, on Bitcoin, you wouldn't have been able to do that. Now they've added a tap script, probably not as powerful as Ethereum's. Let me just see if I have a Taproot details in here. Okay. Not as powerful as Ethereum Solidity, but it does add some level of computational logic onto Bitcoin. Let me see anything. So it means now we could, in theory, use Bitcoin blockchain for a few more use cases than just storing as just using as a store of value that you just buy and hold it, right? You can't build. The reason we don't have any DEXs on Bitcoin blockchain, we don't have any NFTs built out on Bitcoin blockchain, we don't have any other financial applications being built on Bitcoin blockchain, because we didn't have any language to support any of the complex transactions required, any computational required. But with the tap script, we'll have a little lighter. It may not be as complex what we see in Ethereum, but probably have some more logic. Right? So it enhances the use cases. What else? I hope I remembered everything. So we talked about Snore signature. We talked about tap script. Yep, I think that's all. I went back to my note, which we had taken way back in, I think, March, May. So I think that's all. That's about the Taproot. Now, will it have an impact on ETH? I don't think so. Even though they have introduced tap script, it's yet to be seen what all can you do with a tap script. Right? Maybe I can write some. There were other companies that were working to write computational transactions on a Bitcoin blockchain. Stacks was another company, even before Taproot. So Stacks was working on providing an additional layer of coding, if I may say that, so that you can write your logic on Stacks, but eventually the transaction everything will get settled on Bitcoin. So they were kind of try to build a wrapper around the Bitcoin blockchain so that you can do a little more computational stuff. But now this one is native to Bitcoin, right? So I don't think, again, I have no idea. My guess is as good as yours. But my understanding is that it will allow you to do a little bit of a computation, but may not be as comprehensive as what we have in Solidity. So I don't think it will replace Ethereum. But for example, it might allow us to do some certain stuff like in terms of increasing use cases. Let me just think through it. For example, we may be able to implement some time-based unlocking of the transactions or of the wallets, right? Say maybe, and again, I am just throwing it, right on top of my head. I don't know if it's a valid use case or not, but just trying to understand. So today, one big problem is if I have let's say we could write a logic that the current transactions that is being signed by, let's say, 3 keys, but I say me, my financial advisor, and my heir, we each one of us have a private key, and we sign a transaction. I buy a Bitcoin, I sign it, right? But I don't want any one of them to get access to it, as long as I am aware, I live. I'm okay to make it, have either my financial advisor or my heir get access to that Bitcoin once I die. So maybe now with the tap script, we could script it in a way saying that, after 40 years, this could become a multi-sig, and any 2 keys out of 3 will still be able to open the wallet. Before 40 years, it's only my key which will open the wallet. So and today that's a big problem. Many of the Bitcoins, if the owners have either forgotten their keys or they've lost the keys, it's gone. It's like it's gone forever, right? So if we have such logic which we can implement at a natively on Bitcoin, we might see a little more. It could give rise to more use cases. We could have availability. I don't know. Many developers can come with many more use cases of it, but having an ability to code and take actions based on certain logic will definitely enhance its usability and use cases. So that's my thought on Taproot. I don't think that it's going to replace Ethereum. It won't be as comprehensive that we would immediately start to see all the things that Ethereum does. I could be wrong. I'll be very happy if I'm wrong. Maybe Bitcoin will become much more, will have a lot more use cases in that case, and I'll be pretty happy about it. So that was a quick update on Taproot. Let's continue on this one. There was one more comment, I think a couple of them. Yeah. Zifty says, errors issues is not adoption, no code, no software release, just talk. Yeah, I think there are, I don't know, I won't be so harsh on them that saying no code, no software release, because they did release the smart contract platform. They did also release, but the problem is what they release is the stuff that most of the developers don't use. So there's a lot of learning curve for any developer to actually build anything on Kadena. And that is why I think my take is that that's why it's taking such a long time to have anything available on Kadena. To build anything on Kadena, you need to learn Haskell. Haskell is, I never heard of this language, prior to studying what actually the Kadena is. So then I started dig deeper, and let's say Haskell is a functional programming language, and it does what it is supposed to do. So you have a very few, the frequency of errors is very less, right? How many people actually have heard about Haskell? I mean, I haven't heard about Haskell. I'm not a developer, but I've been working in a tech industry for more than 22, 23 years and never heard of Haskell. I heard of Fortran, word on Fortran, but I never heard of Haskell. So now, if you got to build a developer community who needs to learn Haskell, we don't have any developers. So it's taking a lot of time. So they in fact had to build up the whole. Then on top of Haskell, they built another programming language called Plutus, which will be used to build smart contracts. Now the smart contract functionality is available. They're kind of running a lot of a Plutus, I would say, boot camp or stuff like that, where they're training developers. So yeah, if you build something which no one uses, you won't get. The first step to any adoption is developers should be comfortable in building stuff on your platform. And if that itself is so difficult that you can't even get developers to build it, where will you get the users from? So I think that's where they have, that's the challenge. Again, that's my belief, is that's the challenge what Kadena is going through it. So if you want, I mean, there are some Plutus pioneer program where they actually train a lot of developers on how to use Plutus, etc. Zifty says, I don't believe overstate or harsh your opinion. I researched about it. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I also looked at it. I do know there's some pioneer program running, but again, unless we see applications available, it's all smokes and mirror. I'm with you. But whether we'll see Sunday swap coming out or not, unless I see that available for everyone to use, who knows? That might be just, slick marketing for the last 7 years, possible. But I'll give them a benefit of doubt for now. Yeah. I'm all for it to work, but I've found or heard saw nothing intelligent. I just see that they're having tough time. And my thought is you picked up a platform or a language that no one uses. No, good luck in trying to attract developers. So we'll see where it eventually ends up into, whether it does what it actually say or not. They also claim, most of now, again, another thing is most of the these DeFi developers, they all are, I would say, learned their tricks on Ethereum. It all came from Ethereum world. And the way the Ethereum blockchain is account-based logic, whereas the Bitcoin blockchain is unspent. It works on unspent transaction. So, and what Kadena has done, they have basically their accounting system is extended unspent transaction output, EUTXO. Bitcoin is on UTXO. First of all, it means that it's a paradigm shift on how even you have to think about developing an application. Forget about the language. Even if the language is something that they understand, there's a whole paradigm shift on how you have to build your app if you're moving from account-based model to a UTXO-based model. And now actually Kadena is even EUTXO, extended UTXO. It's like, oh, you got so many, I would say, anyone trying to develop any application has to cross so many hoops. If as a developer, like, why would I do it? I'll go to Solana and build over there, or I'll stick to Ethereum, or maybe I'll go and try on Polkadot. You gotta have to learn so many different things just to build an app. Is that the best tech? Okay, if I give Charles the benefit of doubt, yeah, I'll assume it's the best tech. But again, best tech doesn't always win. It's an adoption that wins. We'll see. But too many changes, trying to do too many things at the same time. You need to focus on adoption. I saw a quote somewhere, what is Web3? In an easy way. So I thought I'll share. Web 1 is read only. Right? Plain websites, 1990s, early 1990 website was read only. Web 2 became read write. In read only mode, it's the companies that would create the content and the companies would profit from that content. And then came Facebook. And then we gave all our data to Facebook, to the Googles of the world. We moved into Web 2, wherein we as a user got a little more power. At least that's what we thought. I can actually now go and write something. So that became read write, in which we got, ostensibly, we got some power to write, but companies made money. The third is where we're looking now. Next era would be read, write, execute. People create and people profit. If it's my attention span, I should be making money. If it's my data that Facebook is using, I need to get paid. That's why it's all about token economy. So we say it's an information age. We move from information to platform economy, now moving towards token economy. And even now it is difficult for me to wrap our head around on how the world will operate in this token economy. How as an individuals, could own or could benefit, but there are stuff happening. Brave, today I read the news, Brave browser, which have their own token, basic attention token, BAT. Disclaimer, I don't own any BAT. But Brave browser crossed 34 million users now. It was started as a challenger to what's happened in Web 2.0, in which Google collect all the information about you, about your browsing habits, about how much time you spend, and Google knows a lot more about you than your spouse does. And Google made all the money. It's almost $2 trillion company. I didn't get any check from Google. All I got from Google was maybe a few more spam emails. So Brave is trying to challenge that. So if you use Brave browser and you browse the internet, you actually get paid. And I think, and again, I haven't used Brave browser, but makes it interesting. I want to try it out. But maybe you can actually also configure in terms of whom you want to pay, from advertisers' perspective. So you are in control of your data. If your data is being shared with advertisers, then you also get paid. It's not just the Brave, right? And I think they pay in. Maybe let's open up Brave and check. Now I'm interested because they crossed 34 million users. Brave, not bar. Take control. The best privacy online, 3x faster than Chrome, better protection from Google and big tech. There we go, right on their home page. They're thumbing Northern Google and the big tech companies. Stop being followed online. Online privacy made simple. Even a VPN is all in single click. You can just switch. Difference you can feel. So this is their, it's called a BAT, basic attention token, if I recall correctly. And what, other thing is Brave was in news because now they also announced that they'll be building a browser native wallet in which you can swap your crypto assets. Right. That was another news. So, not 34, what 42 million people actually have now joined Brave. Maybe I'll add one more count to this tonight. Want to study how it works and what it does in terms of rewards. So it does says Brave rewards. Your attention is valuable, earned by viewing privacy respecting ads and paid forward to support the content creators you love. Okay. With your old browser, you paid to browse the web or viewing the ads with your valuable attention. You spent your valuable time downloading invasive ad technology that transmitted your precious private data to advertisers without your consent. On Brave, your personal data is kept private and you actually get rewarded for your attention. So yeah, so this is what basic attention token. So if you're going, and it looks like maybe you can configure here how much contribution you receive. You actually get paid in BAT, basic attention token. Okay, then it looks like they have another white paper on BAT. So let's look at BAT. Okay, it's not available on US exchanges. So all you can do is maybe use Brave if you want to collect some BAT. How it works. The Brave browser anonymously monitors user attention and reward publishers accordingly with BATs. We got a user, we got advertisers, we got publishers. So user attention is privately monitored on device in the Brave browser. Data never leaves the device. Publisher receives BAT based on user attention. Revenue increases, inefficiency decrease. Advertisers achieve higher ROI, better targeting, etc. And users are rewarded with BATs for their attention. Brave Solana partnership, pushing BAT for how long? Okay. Yeah, so I think it's an interesting concept. Maybe now I'm looking at maybe I should download it and try it out and see how it works. And now the fact is that they're going to integrate some crypto wallets. That makes it a little more interesting on what Brave has to do. Let me read some comments. And Charles spent full-time sales and marketing. That is true. What token code does Brave use? Token is, we talked about, it's a basic attention token. I haven't gotten into the details of how it works. Okay, interesting concept. Brave will pay you, but wondering what we might have to sacrifice. So again, I think something definitely we have to sacrifice. It's like our attention in terms of what we are, the ads that we are seeing. But at least now we are getting paid for the ads that we are seeing. Now, again, we'll have to dig deeper to see what kind of information does Brave shares with advertisers or the publishers to make ads a little more relevant. It says that your private information doesn't leave, but maybe some kind of a metadata. Again, we'll have to dig deeper, but at least seems to be a little better than Google. They take all the data and we get paid zilch. So hopefully we'll get paid something on Brave. What an interesting concept. Maybe we should explore it and see how it works. Let me add into my checklist for every week. I just want to have one item what I want to learn new on crypto side. So maybe next week is going to be Brave browser. I'm going to play with Brave browser and see, I install it and see how it works.
Vivek,
yeah.
Do you have any thoughts on NFTs?
I have my thoughts. Yeah, everyone has.
Can you share it?
Oh, everything. Yeah, sure. I mean, so again, NFTs right now. I think it's a super hot area in terms of everyone is trying to immortalize their image, their art or their music as a part of NFT. So in my opinion, right now, I think it's super hyped up. I see a lot of celebrities getting into NFTs. I understand the usage of NFTs, let's say for a music album, right? Or for say financial documents. I don't think we have even gone there yet. Or for digital identity. Let's say my driver's license could actually be an NFT. Nobody's talking about that. Having my driver license as NFT, and if I control what kind of information I may want to share when, say, I have to give a proof of age when I'm trying to buy something online. So today, if I want to buy something online, And if I to give my proof of age, they ask for, you take a picture of a driver license and upload it. Hey, all you need to know is whether I'm above 21 or not. Why you have to know my date of birth? Why you have to know where I stay? So with NFTs, I can control, hopefully there'll be like that, in which I can control what kind of information I would want to share with each of the different parties. Maybe if I'm doing a financial transaction, I want to share full information, given even my address, my date of birth. If I'm with doctor, I want to share, maybe including my date of birth. But if I'm just buying, say, alcohol online, all they need to know is, year I was born. At least in my case, just a year is enough. But so great use case. Nobody's talking about those things. Today, all I see in NFT is let's create some, again, art also has a use case, but I think for now it's too hyped up. And if you go to OpenSea and looks like everything will continue to be sold at millions of dollars. CryptoPunk cypherpunks. We sold NFT rocks, originally ETH rocks, for millions of dollars. Right, Bored Ape or Yet. Let's go to OpenSea. So my opinion is that these things will cool down, and then the real use cases will emerge. So in 2017, we had all these altcoins coming up. The whole ICO boom had started. First, it starts with a use case saying, hey, ICO is a great way to raise money. And then suddenly it looks like that this is the best thing that have ever happened in the capital markets. And everything says that any and every company should be able to raise money using ICOs. And we saw a lot of money being raised through ICOs. I think, was it Telegram or some other company raised $4 billion? I can't recall, was it Telegram? Or maybe it's another company, I'm forgetting. It was $4 billion through ICO. It reached its peak, cooled down. Now very few projects raise money through ICO. But now they realize, okay, there are regulatory hurdles. It's not that attractive anymore. NFTs are right now going through a hype cycle, a lot of money flowing in. But I believe for this whole NFT ecosystem to grow, some cleanup will happen. When it'll happen, no one has an idea. But until then, if you are a creator, enjoy the ride. If you are an artist, create something. And we're seeing news of 14-year, 12-year-old kids creating pictures of whales and minting them as an NFTs, and people are buying it. And people are buying Rivian stock. 0 cars sold. So we are living in a strange world. And wherever, right, this world is all about community and adoption. It's not about logic. I mean, forget about logic. I mean, logic doesn't work. I mean, so if most of the people say this is what we want, that thing will be valuable. Right now, I'm seeing a lot of interest in NFT, which in a way it is good, because this whole crypto economy is a little arcane concept for people to understand. Not you guys. You guys have been interested in crypto economy. That's why we come and talk about it. But for general person, it's a difficult concept to grasp around tokenization and the DeFi concept. But NFT ownership of art, a part ownership of something of value is an easy concept to grasp. And that has attracted a lot of first timers into crypto economy, which is great for the ecosystem. And that is why we are seeing exponential growth in NFT. Sometimes the growth will taper down. Nothing continues, there is nothing that goes high, continue to go high forever. But it's been a great ecosystem. And there are a lot of use cases which NFTs will enable. Today, only use case is of, let's say, trading pieces of art, which will continue to be a great use case. Don't get me wrong, that, it can't be, which will continue to be a great use case, right? But not every 14-year-old will continue to make a lot of money for years to come, right? So that's somewhere it is. Right now, it's going through their growth and the hype cycle. When it'll cool down, then we'll continue to see a lot more improvements, a lot more use cases, some real world use cases, which is outside of just buying and holding an NFT, but NFTs that could be used in a transactional process. We would see that. NFTs, which will allow you to, I mean, it's a great invention. There got a lot more use cases of NFTs. So I'm pretty excited about the growth that I'm seeing in NFTs. But am I buying any NFT? Not yet. I mean, I don't have that knack for, and there is nothing that I found which I would love to own. Let me put it that way. And would like to prove it to someone that I'm actually an owner of it. I haven't found anything like that, so I have not bought any NFT. But yeah, it's a personal preference. It's not
because the problem yesterday is you had to have Solana to buy the NFT.
Not really.
So,
not really. There are NFT platforms which work on multiple blockchains. So you could buy, even if you have Ethereum, you can buy NFT. And that is one problem why the Ethereum gas fee is so high, because the damn NFT craze is demanding so much Ethereum. They're just, we had that ultrasound money, right? Last week we saw where the, after the EIP 1559, where the most of the ETH is getting spent. And if you really look at it, OpenSea, this is a decentralized exchange. From our perspective, OpenSea is right there on the top. So many transactions happening on OpenSea. OpenSea is an NFT marketplace. So it's not just Solana. Solana also probably has their own NFT marketplace. Every blockchain is trying to create their own NFT marketplace.
No, excuse me. Sorry, Vivek. He was showing us how you buy NFTs yesterday, and you had to have Solana to buy the ones that the exchange he was on was at least the only one we saw was the artwork he was buying, except Solana. I didn't know if there was anything else.
Well, yeah. So because, like I said, there is OpenSea. There is another one which I know is Rarible. I don't know what's a Solana-based NFT marketplace is called. Let's search for it. Solana NFT marketplace. There are many. SolSea. I think the SolSea is probably the more prominent than Solar Art. So yeah. So this, if you buy anything over here, you need to have Solana. And you need to have a wallet, which Solana compatible wallet. So if you buy anything here, you have to have Solana. But there are many NFT marketplaces. It's like every blockchain. So that's what's happening right now. If you look at any up and coming blockchains, we will talk about one today, is everyone wants to quickly create there are a few things which, they learned the whole, the way I see is everyone has learned the steps to build their community, get your L1 blockchain, and give those rewards, do a proof of staking and give them rewards. Number two, build out a DEX, decentralized exchange, add yield farming, your automated market making, give them governance tokens, create NFT marketplace, because we've seen this whole story on Ethereum. So they've seen how the growth in Ethereum has happened, on what all things were built on Ethereum. Now every blockchain is trying to do the same thing. So now whether SolSea will be around, whether OpenSea will be around, which blockchain will stay relevant 10 years later is important. So if you buy an OpenSea, Sam, you can buy using Ethereum, because I think this is built on Ethereum. It's it's probably the most usage of Ethereum is coming from OpenSea. That's why so much of ETH is getting burnt. And Uniswap is a decentralized exchange. Cool. Piers Chang says, in order to do anything in OpenSea, you need a wallet. From the list of wallets, which ones would you recommend? Which wallet does it say? So I use MetaMask because that's a browser-based wallet, but I haven't never used it on OpenSea. So does it talk about wallets anywhere? So ranking, activity, resources. Let's say, where does it talk about set up your wallet?
Just click on create.
Okay, so you can use MetaMask, Coinbase. Coinbase, again, a reputed company, probably some, but the most, I think, most used wallet is MetaMask. MetaMask is again from Consensus. They recently raised $200 million, a new funding, because MetaMask also crossed a new milestone. I don't know how many million users, but there, if you search on a Twitter, they were they were tweeting about it. Now MetaMask has crossed a certain level of threshold of so many million users. So I use MetaMask, and I use it's a browser extension. It's available as a browser extension also. So I would say going with MetaMask, Coinbase Trust Wallet. Also, I've heard about it. I haven't heard about some of the others. So maybe top 3, maybe stick with that. MetaMask is the most used. So go with the leader. Can't go wrong with that. Okay, PSN said, Calamint IO uses Tezos. Yeah, this should, what is this? This is another NFT. Oh, this is again NFT. There is so much of interest in NFTs. There are dime a dozen NFT marketplaces. That is why sometimes I feel it is getting, it's more hyped up. But who is to say, that it won't continue? I have no idea. As long as people are interested in buying, they find value in this, and the value is in the eyes of beholder. So you like this, you want to own this and claim ownership on it, the ecosystem will grow. So sorry, that's my long thought on NFT. I haven't found anything that I feel like worth owning and talking about it. I'm not from OGs on Cypher world that I want to own a cypherpunks. I haven't gotten into Ethereum. I wish I could, but I have not gotten into Ethereum in 2009, etc. when the rocks were created, or in 2016 when the 70 when CryptoKitties were created. None of them are very close to my heart. So that's, I haven't owned them, and I haven't got attracted to Bored Apes or React Apes, or there are Shibus and I think baby apes and everything else. But I'm more interested in other use cases that NFTs can enable. So we'll keep an eye. But it's a great, you call like, it's a gateway drug. Shouldn't be using that word, but it's kind of that thing which will get people to understand more about crypto economy. When you see, oh, actually you can control this, or it's a great stuff for those creators. Because when you create an NFT, you could actually put in a logic of, how much royalty you get paid. You actually get paid in perpetuity. So today, the booksellers, the book writers, or the painters get paid only on the initial sale, right? They get a royalty. But if I buy a book and then I sell it to someone else, I don't pay anything to the writer. Or if I create a piece of art. But if you create an NFT, the record is there. The money will move to them. So there are great use cases in it. So it's a great invention.
Vivek, are we meeting this Saturday or not?
This Saturday, yes. Yeah. Next Saturday,
because
not, because Thanksgiving.
yeah. Because today, last night, Alibaba fell 8%, and then today, Alibaba Hong Kong fell 8%, 8.6%, and then today, Baba went down.
Yeah, so a lot of market is down. Even let's say when we talk about market, even the crypto market is down. So let's talk about Baba on Saturday. Market, except a few big ones, Amazon's and the Microsofts of the world, and the Tesla. I think most of the other markets are down. Other thing, again, this is an interesting about constitutional DAO. And this, it's like a company that was created just for one specific purpose. And that purpose was to buy one of the remaining copies, original copies of Constitution, of US Constitution. And $49 million were raised. 49. No, by a company that has been incorporated as a DAO. And this is one more use case of NFT. You actually get I don't know whether we'll get an NFT token or probably not NFT, but it could be use of NFTs as well. But this is like, so let's get through this. But this is pretty interesting. I've never seen this before. Anything like that. So what's going on? So we are buying the US Constitution. For the first time in 33 years, one of the 13 surviving copies of the official edition from the Constitutional Convention will be publicly auctioned by Sotheby's. It happened today. I don't think the DAO actually won. It is one of the 2 copies that are still owned by private collectors. So it looks like the other copies are already with museums, so not available for sale. Only 2 copies are available for sale. One of them came to Sotheby's for auction. And this Constitution DAO was created. The proceeds from this auction will be given to a charity that has been established by the current owner. It's a pooling together money to win this auction. We intend to put the Constitution in the hands of the people. And what better way to appeal to people to donate for this cause? And what will happen to this Constitution? So the Constitution will, partner with some museum, etc., to give it to that museum so that it doesn't go back in any private hands. But if I have contributed to this, I can actually claim that, I own that piece of, through the token, I can say that I own that piece of Constitution. So quickly a DAO was created, and then they started collecting donations through this company called Juice Box. Okay. And today, as of today, they raised $49 million from 17,000 individual contributors. And I think the latest says that they didn't win. But the question is not whether they won or not. The bigger question is, at the pace at which they were able to raise this amount, imagine what else can we do, for what other use cases can this be used for? It's amazing, amazing work. So let's look at, this Juice Box. Yeah. Okay. Now because of the price of Ether has gone down from 49, the overall total amount is now $47 million, but still enough. They were quickly able to raise $47 million and to bid for that constitution, for the right to own the constitution. Okay. But I saw an update from Blockworks. Let's bring that up. Eventually, they didn't win. The Constitution DAO and aspiring raised around 49 to place the bid on last privately held copy of US Constitution. Auction happened, sold the document at 41, but DAO did secure the bid. But I thought they didn't win. Yeah, so there are, wow. The Constitution DAO has seen remarkable support through Web3 community, 18,000 Discord members, 30,000 followers, and 17,000 contributors. Now, how this works, I think that's more important. The funds collected are being held in a multi-sig wallet, which is controlled by 13 core contributors to this DAO, which mirrors the 13 colonies at the time of nations funding. That is interesting. Just as 9 of the new US states were required to ratify. So this multi-sig, we were talking about multi-sig right earlier around when we were talking about the tab script. You could have put any logic. This is 9 out of 13 multi-sigs, means 9 have to sign, only then the wallet can be unlocked. So 9 have to sign in order for transaction to move the funds. So what happens if they win or lose it? So now what I heard was they actually lost. If this outbid, funds will be returned to the donors, but minus the amount of a gas fee that they have to pay, because this was again on Ethereum. Okay. And this platform JuicePod generally take 5%, but they will waive it. This enterprise is not fully decentralized yet, but the donors will receive a governance token in exchange for contribution to the cause. Now, once this group prevails, this become DAO, and then those people who hold those tokens could have a say in how the company operates. But that is like, I would say, a pipe dream. What if they don't, those who are core contributors, they don't care what you want to propose or vote. That means the community, they won't have a community, but so they will probably, if you are making a DAO, and if a majority of the token holders vote in one way, but your own personal opinion another way, if you don't go what community says, then you basically antagonize the community, which basically will just kill your project. So quite interesting stuff. Use of Web3 technology to quickly raise $49 million to buy the Constitution and and keep it in the hands of people rather than the private collectors. Who would have thought this could ever happen? I had no idea, but it was pretty interesting to see the use cases that this token economy is driving. This is just one. There'll be many more that will be coming along. Things that we probably at this point of time, we can't even think of. That's the reason. Let's learn about this economy. I see some comments from Zifty. Right now, it's sort of a playground for the serious stuff to emerge. I think it's talking about NFT. Yes, I think that's exactly my viewpoint is right now it's a playground. Let people play. A lot of people will make money. Some people will lose money, but that's okay. Let people get experience. Let people get experience to the possibilities that can happen in this. And real use cases will take time, will emerge. And I'm in no hurry. Let it take its own course. That's my thought process. All right, so last sip of my, started with the hot coffee, now it's a cold coffee. All right, let's talk about Kadena. I don't recall, but someone had asked if you can review Kadena. I had no idea what Kadena is, so I thought, okay, we'll spend some time in understanding what is this new coin called Kadena. Now, let's bring up what is the coin gecko. Let's bring this up. By the way, Tesla, between the race between Tesla and Bitcoin, Tesla again won because Bitcoin has fallen down. So it's interesting to see, the biggest, the largest assets across the world. Gold is still, which has the most asset under management, almost 12 million. And then we got a Bitcoin number 9. It was earlier number 8, but based on what's happening in the last 2-3 days, it has slipped to number 9. So we wanted to talk about Kadena. Oh, now I know why people got interested in Kadena. Okay. See, most of the time when I hear for some requests, hey, let's talk about this project, it means something has happened to the price of the project, which is, now it makes perfect sense. So from 25th October onwards, this has gone through roof from $5, gosh, from $6. It's like 25th October is, let's say, around $5.20, all the way up to $25 on 11th November. This is like just 15 days, 5 times in 15 days. Sure, it will attract a lot of attention on what the heck is this. All right, so let's try to understand what this project is about. So what is, anyone holding Kadena or have already researched it? Oops. Generally, I'll find some online help, some YouTube videos by, to help me. But in case of Kadena, there weren't many. Most of the YouTube videos would be, and I hate those, is if you search for any, especially when it comes to crypto, you type in the name and say analysis, all you'll get is first those, this is going to moon, Kadena 100, Kadena could be 500. I'm like, I first want to know what the heck is this. Please bring up those videos. So anyway, didn't find too many on Kadena. So maybe this is, it's pretty new, and that is why only thing I could find was why it's going to moon. All right, so what Kadena? Kadena is also, it's just like not blockchain, what called Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana. This is another L1 blockchain. So when I talk about the L's, I mean, if you understand, there are different, in crypto parlance, we actually talk about different levels on blockchains. So we got L1s, which is like, we got a BTC, we got Ethereum, my tablet is not there, so I don't have a pen to write. Then we got L2s, which L2s are the ones which are building solutions, and those L2s are mostly, I think almost all, at least the known ones, are all scaling solutions. They are built on top of any of the L1s and address some of the problems or some of the deficiencies, some of the disadvantages of any L1s. Okay. So for example, for BTC, one of the biggest criticism of Bitcoin is, oh, it's slow. You cannot do small value transactions. You cannot do micro transactions. For example, I cannot use BTC to send, $2. I'll pay more in the gas fee. So it can't be used for that. So L2 solution we have for Bitcoin is Lightning Network. The whole El Salvador the usage of Bitcoin on El Salvador, if you're only doing directly on Bitcoin, it's just not possible. So all the transactions that El Salvador people, if they are using Bitcoin, those all go through the Lightning Network. We talked about the Lightning Network a while ago, how it works. And using Lightning Network, it's as fast as if you're paying using your credit card. If you do your transaction through the Lightning Network. And the Strike is an app. You can use it, which basically will use Lightning Network to do the transaction. So that's a L2 scaling solution on top of Bitcoin. Ethereum has got their own scaling solutions. They're coming up now. Arbitrum, Optimism. These are the two scaling solutions on built on top of Ethereum. Use the technology that Vitalik Buterin loves, which is zero knowledge proof, ZKPs or ZK rollups. But again, those are the solutions built to address a problem on the main blockchain, what we call as the L1s. Those are called L2 solutions. Right? Then third one, which I don't think there is an official name to it, but from my own understanding is there are could be some projects which are L0s. L0s could be providing a layer on which you could actually run your L1s. So today, all these transactions that we do, all are smart contracts. They all run on, all these DEXs. The Uniswap, we saw NFT. Uniswap is a decentralized exchange. SushiSwap is a decentralized exchange. PancakeSwap is a decentralized exchange. They all run on some server, and it could be Google server. It could be AWS server. Who knows? But when I type OpenSea.io, actually I will go to a website which is being pulled in by some server hosted at God knows who. If it is hosted at AWS, then it is not really, not Uniswap, let's Uniswap. Then it is not really decentralized, because Amazon could take this down. If Amazon takes down this website, even though the transactions that I conducted through this website is etched on Ethereum blockchain, I have no way to access that, because the gateway, my entry point to that decentralized transaction set on Ethereum has been choked, because Jeff Bezos, not Jeff, but Andy Jassy doesn't like it. It took down or blocked Uniswap. And I'm not saying that Uniswap is actually hosted on AWS, but we saw a use case wherein Uniswap delisted some of the coins, and it happened maybe a month or 2 months ago, when they figured out that SEC was probably classifying those as a security and could have gone after those. There was some news around it. So Uniswap, even though it is decentralized, claims to be decentralized exchange, the core team behind it did get nervous, saying, what if the regulators would shut them down? It means it's not entirely decentralized. Maybe it is hosted somewhere. Who knows? And I don't think they actually went through the whole governance protocol, which is what you should do if you are a decentralized, and if it is a running as a DAO, etc. And unilaterally, someone took a decision. So there are a lot of things. Governance is going to be one big thing that is yet to be solved. We'll actually get to know how these DAOs work when they are being pushed to the wall to make a difficult decision. Right? Like, I think it's Uniswap or SushiSwap. So don't get me wrong. I don't know. But one of these DEXs took a quick action because they feared that regulators that they had a fear of regulators. It means there is a choke point. So that's what I call is someone who's building. And Zifty says, right, it's ICP is one project that I'm aware of, which is trying to address this particular problem. Don't ask me about what's happening to ICP token. People who got into ICP kind of lost all the money, right? So it opened at 700, it's down like 90%. It has lost 90% of its value. When it came with such a big hype. We'll just look at it, ICP. But from a project perspective, it's a pretty interesting problem that it is trying to solve. So look at it, the all-time high was $700 May this year. It's lost 95% of its value. And I think now there are some, if you go to the internet or something, no one wants to talk about this. If you go to their YouTube, they don't even have many followers. Their videos are watched by very few people. The whole project is very complex to actually understand. I had to spend a lot of time to even understand how the heck they are building this. But it's a amazing concept wise. Whether this project will succeed, will they be able to succeed and create a truly decentralized at an internet layer? Who knows? Yet to be seen. But that's what I call L0s, means, hey, the overall internet itself could be decentralized to the extent at which it could be. And even the ICP, what they are doing is working with the data centers, multiple data centers across the world, so that even if one government shuts down one data center, at least there are others. And then there are whole smart contracts which you can run on canisters. And then it's a very difficult project to wrap the head around. So you have to read it multiple times to even figure that out, what the heck they're doing. And that is why it just doesn't get any love, especially after the people think that it was a rug pull. After all that happened, no investors or no crypto Twitter love for ICP. But it's an interesting project. I've been keeping my eyes and ears open to find out, is there any other project that does similar stuff as ICP? I haven't come across. So we'll see. Coming back to Kadena. So that was our discussion on L0s. And so Kadena is at L1. It competes with the same level at Bitcoin and Ethereum and Solana's of the house. Means you got a smart contracts, no cost transactions, is energy efficient. It will be interesting to see what they're trying to do. It's scalable. It's trying to address the problem that Bitcoin has. It doesn't scale. Of course, you have to use the Lightning Network. Who are the founders? Pedigree is good. So Stuart Popejoy was the person who led JP Morgan's emerging blockchain group. Now, you may not want to associate with them. So, the person is from the traditional finance, but at least he has an experience of building the team to create a new blockchain. And for what, in the media, you'll all hear JP Morgan and the Jamie Dimon pitching about Bitcoin, but JP Morgan had built a really big team within themselves. And then they, I think it went to consensus. I forgot the name of the team, but earlier this year, they kind of spun off the team, and I think it consensus, or was this consensus or some other, they basically absorbed that team. But JP Morgan had launched their own coin called JPM coin, and Stuart Popejoy, he was instrumental in basically building the team at JP Morgan, who their emerging blockchain group. Okay, so he has experience in building blockchains. He built it for JP Morgan, fine, but he built a blockchain. Then the other one, Will Martino, he was working with SEC, the cryptocurrency steering committee, right? And then you can read about the rest of the team. So that's from a team perspective. Okay, these folks have some experience on building a blockchain. From an investor, one of the investors is Multicoin, which is also a big investor in Solana. So Multicoin kind of did a initial participated in the initial fundraising rounds of Solana, and they probably got into Solana when it was initially trading at few cents, and hopefully they exited at the right time, or not be. I mean, they made tons of money. So we got a same common investor. Will Kadena be next Solana? God knows. So how it works? What's the consensus mechanism? They are using proof of work, just like Bitcoin. But they're using parallelized proof of work. I find that very interesting. It's again a little difficult to wrap our head around. If anyone actually does it's from a hardcore computer science background, probably can understand, or how this was. They can understand it. I had no idea around how the details, but it was interesting to see in the way they try to explain how this works. So we'll go through that. Right? So right now on the Bitcoin, we have a single chain, right? You mine a block, add it to the chain, add it to your ledger. You create a next block, and in that block, you put the hash of this previous block in this new block, and that's how these two blocks are getting chained together. There is some level of information in the second block which tells me what my first block is. So if I try to change the first block, second block get invalidated. That is why more and more blocks added into blockchain, the stronger it becomes. That is why Bitcoin has never been hacked. That is why it is very, very difficult. It needs the, probably it is like unhackable for now. I mean, you need a 51% power to take over the network. That is why it's so secure. Now, but the problem is Bitcoin is slow. So what they are doing is, instead of using one chain, they're basically using multiple chains. So we'll look into it. It probably will be clearer when we actually look at the diagram. What they call it as a chain web. Right? They want the security of a proof of work. Now, with the proof of work, there's also, if I were to look at it, there's also a concern around it. There are a lot of concerns around for institutional capital, like a BlackRock. They're always concerned around the environment, right? ESG. So I don't think they're doing it because of they want to do good for society, because BlackRock knows if they don't do it, the investors won't give them their money. So instead, BlackRock is now pressurizing their portfolio companies to invest or to not invest in non-ESG companies. So BlackRock has been pushing really high. So a lot of institutional investors don't want to invest in something which is not good for climate. And right now there is a lot of, you call it FUD or misinformation, or maybe some truth saying the proof of work is bad for environment. But Kadena wants to go with proof of work. That's a Solana is with the proof of stake. All the new upcoming blockchains, most of them are coming with proof of stake because they just don't want to even get a, they are not even it comes into discussion when someone is talking about it's bad for environment. We have proof of stake. There is no harm to any environment, right? Rather than trying to change the narrative, what Bitcoin community is trying to do. So let's see how this chain web works. So this is how a blockchain, Bitcoin blockchain would be, right? You got a first one, you put a second block of transaction, which has got information from the first one. Then you put a third one, which has got some information from the hash of the second block. It means if I have this, I can go back and create all the transactions right from the first transaction which Satoshi Nakamoto did. And I can verify all the transactions from today all the way to 14 years. So this is how the Bitcoin blockchain is. single chain, multiple blocks. What they are looking for is to do braided chains, multiple chains, right? So take an example. This is like 2 chains. Now this block has information, has got a hash of this block and this block. This block has got an information about hash of this and this. Similarly, this block has got a hash of this as well as this. So this is very simple way of showing 2 chains. So now suddenly, if in one chain, in one block, you can add only that limited amount of data, right? We talked about it. Bitcoin, the valuable space is the amount of a data that goes into the block. Today, we pay so much fee is just to get our data in that block for Ethereum or for Bitcoin. Now you got 2 blocks that are minted simultaneously. Now you can push in more transactions at the same time, increasing the number of transactions per second. They actually braided up to 10 to 20 chains. It's not only just one, it can scale to 10 to 20 chains. They did a proof this year earlier in which they had 20 chains talk to each other. That was a pilot that they ran. And if you have those 20 chains tied to each other, theoretically, it could achieve 400,000 transactions per second, which is way, way, way higher than what Visa can do and what the fastest blockchain, which is Solana, can do. That was a pilot. And that's now generating a lot of interesting, wow. Now we got some very fast blockchain. Now, and the way they say they use Peterson graph theory to reduce the number of connections. And that's where, it basically was beyond my capability. But there's a detailed explanation, and I think this will be a little useful to maybe just visualize on how this works. So let me just play it for some time. Come on. I got to go through this ad now. Okay, let me see what else we can go through. There will be one more ad.
Welcome to Kadena, a breakthrough in blockchain security and scalability.
So
let's start with the simple architecture chain, secure and decentralized.
So we talked about this.
Bitcoin forms.
Let's go to how this multi-chain works.
Here we are braiding together 3 Bitcoin-like chains to further improve security and scalability. Notice that there are now many more reference points, as each newly mined block points to its own previous block, in addition to that of all their peer chains. If we continue to add more chains, it requires a more efficient base graph to propagate information across the network without sending so many reference point messages. Kadena's breakthrough comes by taking this early idea of Bitcoin braiding and scaling it dramatically. We do so by leveraging graph theory. Instead of an arbitrary communication structure.
So this is where I think this graph theory is a powerful concept, probably the hardcore computer science course. You are taught graph theory. I have no idea. So we'll be interested to see if anyone understands what this Peterson graph theory is, because everything that they talk about is based on, why they became so faster is because they're using that concept. So would be interested to know what's the, what am I giving up? What's to make it so faster? What are the drawbacks? Could be drawbacks in that graph usage of that graph theory. So let's continue on this one.
As can be found in some DAG-based platforms, Kadena uses a fixed graph structure to optimize for propagating information across the network. In the case of this 10-chain structure, Kadena uses the Peterson graph so that each chain only needs to communicate with 3 peer chains instead of all 9 of the others. Once those 3 peer chains communicate with their own 3 peers, the entire network is linked in only 2 communication jumps. Taking this idea one layer further, Kadena continues to scale throughput and security in the network by braiding 20 chains together. Leveraging a fixed graph approach is unique to Kadena. It allows the platform to guarantee the overall performance, as opposed to unfixed or DAG-based approaches, which cannot make any guarantees. Kadena accomplishes this all while preserving the key promises of Bitcoin: openness, ownerlessness, and true decentralization. Now you've seen how Kadena's blockchain has been uniquely built for security and scalability. This is a simple animation to illustrate how the Chainweb protocol evolves from Bitcoin to the highly scalable and highly secure design of Kadena.
All right, so that was an illustration because I can't explain it in words how it works. I thought maybe I'll just show it to you in terms of how they're building it. And again, it's based on their Peterson graph theory. I'm sure there is some compromises that might happen. Otherwise, why would, let's say, the other chains didn't pick it up? So that's an idea where I don't know what's a loophole here. What is that we have to give up in order to achieve it? Okay. It's looking at their block explorer. What is Microsoft? And so I think, again, it's for fun. If you want to, so there are 20 chains running. That this transaction is referring data in multiple chains and whatnot. You know, something in a previous block and all that. Little illustration. Some nice graphs. So from an ecosystem perspective, right, it's all about adoption, all about creating an ecosystem. Great, you figured out how to use this chain web, you figured out the graph theory, which no one else could, and you can actually expand it to 20 webs and then achieve 400,000 throughput of 400,000 TPS. But what if there no one is actually building apps on it? Right? We just talked about earlier. We were going back and forth on the Kadena. No one is building app on it. So ecosystem, they've just started to build the ecosystem. Right? We look at it, their roadmap a little later. I couldn't find much details around tokenomics. That's something which I need to really look at. But it started with the Bitcoins. I'm assuming probably it's it's more favorable. It's not that they kept everything for the initial teams, but this is an area which I still need to research and figure out how their tokenomics work, right? So now coming to the technology, and this is where I was a little concerned around. They actually created their own language called Pact. Anyone heard of Pact? I had no idea. This is like first time when I was going through their website. Let's go to their website. There I found they talk about Pact. Kadena. These software developers, I didn't even know about what the heck a Pact is. Is the Pact used anywhere else or only in Kadena? They created their own language. Tutorials. They got their own tutorials, how to install it and how to create wallets, everything on Pact. This reminds me of a similar thing of, hey, someone built another blockchain using Haskell. But it's also a Turing complete language. From a future roadmap perspective, let's look at their roadmap. And this is where if they build all what they're promising, maybe we'll see a growth in this one, right? So pretty new in terms of coming to the market. Jan, Feb, where are we right now? We are in November. So now they're also creating their wrapped Bitcoin on Kadena. So that, for example, and if you're creating a wrapped Bitcoin means the next one is, hey, if anyone is building a DEX, I can actually bring my Bitcoin, not bring my Bitcoin, but actually have a wrapped Bitcoin. If I hold a Bitcoin and I want to use that for staking or for taking a loan and use a Bitcoin as a collateral, I can do it because now I can, on a Kadena's lending platform, I can basically deposit my Bitcoin and get a wrapped Bitcoin and then use it on Kadena. So these things are required for wrapped Bitcoin, wrapped Ether, or any of the mostly, those big cryptos, so that people can actually make use of those on various DeFi platforms. So they are building now all that stuff, and then we'll have they have opposite ways. If you hold KDA, you can actually have a wrapped Kadena on Ethereum. So again, this is all to support various DeFis and the dApps. Then the lending platform infrastructure is going on. NFTs again. NFTs. With the craze in NFTs, every L1 will create an NFT. And I think then they are talking about creating Ethereum bridge. So they share their roadmap on what all they want to do. So by end of this year, probably you'll have a support for Ledger Wallet. Means if you hold Kadena, you can actually move it to your wallet. They'll probably have a web extension wallet, just like we have a MetaMask and things like that. So they do share in terms of what all they're going to do. So right now, I think it's get your basic infrastructure up and running, create dApps, and then start creating bridges with various other bigger blockchains, right? So that we can move the tokens. We can deposit a token in one, and then we can move an equivalent amount of value on Kadena and then do whatever you want to do. You want to borrow some money, you want to lend some money, you want to become a liquidity provider. You can only do it if there are bridges built or between the Kadena and the other blockchains. Because if I hold Bitcoin, I hold Ethereum. If I have to move that value over to Kadena to do something, I need to have that wrapped functionality, or they have Ethereum bridge. Okay. So looks to be an interesting one. Biggest worry is around this, my pact. Great technology, great vision, but how many developers are actually building on pact? Right? Solidity has been around for years. They got a big community. So in any of these tech, what we need to watch out for is, especially around the L1s, is the adoption and the ecosystem. That's more important. What remaining that you need to do is, how about they are, is it only public, or are they approaching, because the pedigree comes from JP Morgan. So are they approaching corporates to build blockchain solutions for the corporates? Just like Ripple is doing. Not entirely, in public domain, but they are helping corporates move, money, remittances, and your money movement between countries. Is Kadena doing something in that aspect? That's something we will find out. But looks to be it's an interesting project. It's not just a hype. It looks to be that it does have some meat behind it. So I'm gonna put it on my radar, learn a little more about it, and see how this grows. So that's all about Kadena that I could research this week. So hopefully it will help you in making your own decision and maybe do a little more. This is just a start. Hopefully I've sparked a fire in terms of, hey, it looks a little interesting, and you may want to go and find about Kadena and maybe talk about it next week, what else you found. Yeah. All right, any other comments? Zifty said network issues, corrupted part, error reconciliation, real life has many issues. Yep. So again, I don't know if we have any statistics around. I mean, right now they don't even have any DeFi and dApps. So we'll have no information on how much is their TVLs. I don't know if there is information on how many transactions are actually happening on this one. But I guess right now it's all in the testing phase, unless there are these applications available. People may be probably just buying and holding it, and not really using it for anything else. Oh, any other comment? Okay, there's another comment from Zifty. So this is created by and inside JP, right? No, Kadena is not from JP. So the Stuart Pope Joy, he was working in JP Morgan. He left JP Morgan because I think he found that while he was building a JP Morgan blockchain, some of the issues that were existing in the current technology. So he quit JP Morgan, started Kadena, and use his experience of building the JP Morgan's blockchain, use that experience to build Kadena. So hopefully that answers the question. Sorry if it wasn't clear, my apologies, but he comes from JP Morgan, but no longer in JP Morgan. I think that's it I had for today. And we are out of time anyway. All right, any last minute questions? What else interests you? Maybe what else should we talk about next week? Who else want to talk about next week? Not fair.
I just wanted to say, I know, Vivek, I was kind of texting back and forth with you, but the information that you provided on Mana last week was absolutely amazing. And as you know, I invested like that evening, and I had my kids actually do a little test driver on Decentraland, and they actually loved it because they said it was kind of like Roblox in a way, except you can actually make real money. Although my daughter's probably a little too young for it, but she said it's mostly college age. But it's very similar. She was automatically able to work, you know, I guess if you can do Roblox, you can automatically adapt to it. So I think that it attracts very similar people. And, you know, there's a lot of opportunity there. So it's been skyrocketing. I mean, it's trying to break 4.2.
I don't know.
So,
oh, is it not 4.2? Gosh,
yeah, it's trying to break through to 4.2 right now. And so that evening I put $2,000 in, and then it was like kind of rising. It was just a perfect point. So I invested. Then I got to the top of the cup, and then I took half out, and then I was going to wait, you know, till it dropped a little bit. And then I got back in at 3.02. I threw in like $6,000, and then I've been holding since, and I'll probably like take some profit at like 4.5. But yeah, it's been amazing, and thank you so much. I mean, that was like the best discovery ever and the perfect timing.
I mean, I can take the credit that, yeah, I figured out when it's going to go high, but you know the reality. I know the reality. I had no idea what it's going to do tomorrow, but the project seemed to be interesting. I think that's what my intent is. Looks like it has got some legs. And if in this whole week, last 2-3 weeks, it's not just decentralized, not just on the crypto side, right? Even on the stock side, anything that has to do with online community creation or online world has gone through the roof. Look at Unity, look at Roblox. You know, they've all been firing
the metaverse,
all
of that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm a happy shareholder for these. So yeah.
Did you get in? Did you get into Mana?
No,
I didn't.
I didn't. So when I was studying that, I gave a disclaimer. I don't hold Mana, but I will buy it, and I don't rush into buying it. I mean, if it's a great company, I can still buy it and be happy about it. So I didn't buy Mana yet. That day I had just studied about it, and it was on my radar that I'll buy it. Generally, I have a fixed schedule so that I don't get into emotional on when do I pick up, which is generally on Sundays. That's when I'll generally will do my Bitcoin transactions. So I'm like, okay,
during the weekend, crypto usually goes down a little.
I'm like, I'll do it on Sunday, right? And but then I saw your message. I'm like, okay, it's already double over there. But then on this Sunday, I got into something else, and I'll pick up another. I think this probably about Bitcoin. Probably I'll put up a little more on Bitcoin this next Sunday. So I just want to take my emotions out of it. And from that perspective, I was like, okay, I'll buy it when the time is. I'll just follow that schedule. So I didn't buy anything on Mana, but I'm pretty excited about the project. And it's anything related to this gaming or the online world was on fire. Look at a Roblox, same thing on Roblox. It's been just going up. Roblox also had their earnings, but even after that, it's been just going up.
It just kept, going up. Exactly.
But I'm glad you had kids do some work. That's real research from the real users. You and I mean, at least I can't do justice with these online games. I find it a little difficult to
that's
navigate.
the thing. I don't know anything about these gaming platforms, but that's all the craze. And especially, with the metaverse, it's more than just gaming, right? So my kids did the research for me. My daughter, really, she just went on in as like a demo, and she did the hair, and she just went on and she played around with it, and it was just so easy for her to navigate, and she really actually enjoyed it. So I was thinking, if Roblox is going up, then this certainly is going to go up. And you can do the same things. Like you mentioned, you can create your own businesses, and you can actually earn mana this way by, same as Roblox. And so I felt like it was a really good investment. So I mean, I probably will take profit when it gets to like 4.5, because that technical analysis, it looks like that's kind of the time to pull some out. But if it dips again, then I'll go back in and kind of play that game. But it was following a perfect cup and handle. It was so beautiful. Absolutely. So what do you think of Phantasma?
So this week, this Sunday is my altcoin investing day. So I'll figure out which altcoin, because generally I'll pick up 1 week, I'll do Bitcoin and Ethereum. Those are my biggest holdings. And then next week I'll do something on altcoin. So that's why last week I did Bitcoin. This week I'm like, okay, I want to put something on altcoin. So maybe I'll pick up Mana this week, or maybe something else. Yeah.
Wait for the pullback though. I would not, at this point, I wouldn't touch it. It's just it's skyrocketing now. So if it's going parabolic, I would not touch it until it dips. For sure.
Yeah. But again, my thesis would be, what after 5 years? So if 5 years is something is 50, don't care whether I bought it at 2 or 4, it becomes immaterial. And if it is, my outlook is not for 5 years, then it's more of, hey, I'm just trying to, it could be a 50-50, whether it goes up or down. And that's, I can put some money from that perspective. All right, but good to know.
Do you know anything about Phantasma? Do you want to do that at some point? Maybe I've been hearing a lot about it. Phantasma. Soul is the coin. It's a gaming, like it's supposed to be one of the, exclusively supporting gaming. And again, I don't know very much about gaming, but apparently all the gamers do. They all know about Phantasma. So it would be great to learn about it.
Phantasma. It might be PH.
Yeah, with a PH.
Phantasma.
I
don't know. No, let's give him to some doctors.
Let me see if I can.
Fantasia Solana. Build crypto. Something called Fantasia.
Phantasma.
Phantasma.
Yeah.
Okay, so Phantom. I know says compare Phantasma versus Solana. Oh, it's actually on CoinMarketCap, so should have gone there first.
Yeah,
oh, it's this Soul. Okay, when you said Soul, I thought it was like Solana, SOL Soul. Oh, it's a different Soul. Okay. Crypto kids fight Facebook for the soul of metaverse. New Stone River. Okay, maybe this is what we'll talk about. Okay, it's not listed on any of the reputed exchanges, which gives me a little concern, especially if you're on US. But yeah, maybe we can.
It's on Coinbase or CoinMarketCap, and I believe it's also on CoinGecko.
Yeah, but it's not an exchange. I mean, from an exchange perspective, it's on KuCoin and Gate.io, and of course, you can use
PancakeSwap.
DEX to swap it with. So looks like the bigger
And KuCoin, yeah.
known exchanges haven't yet listed it. But what it does, it's got a staking mechanism, but I'm not interested in what it does as a business. Mainnet gonna, it has proven to the platform of choice for gaming and NFTs. Me, the people who play games probably know about it.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't know enough about games myself, but it seems to be really kind of like the most established platform for gaming. So the gamers know it. I just don't.
Future gaming. Smart NFT technology. Yeah, NFTs have got a lot of value in the games. So so maybe I'll take a note of it too. Oh, they work with some brands as well. Yeah, maybe next week, hopefully we'll spend some time on, next week is Thursday.
It's Thanksgiving, right?
Yeah, Thanksgiving Day. So no session next week. So if I don't see you on Saturday, happy Thanksgiving to you all. We'll probably have a break next week and we'll meet week after next. That means it gets me a little more time to figure this out. What the heck is this? Fantastic.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. Thanks so much.
You're welcome. And thanks for the feedback from your kids.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. You have to have the research.
We got some researchers in our team now.
Yeah, that's right. At least my kids are, not me.
Yeah. All right. So I see a question from Zifty around. I sold covered call on both U and RWLX. 0.1 delta and it's deep in the money. I want to hold long term, so trying to figure out how to mitigate it with the least debit. Your suggestions. Number one is you could, it expires in December. You still have time. So find out what's the extrinsic value left in it. So you may not get assigned unless the extrinsic value in your the strike price has actually come really, is very less. So you have multiple options. Number one is maybe sell a put or put spread against it, collect little more credit, right? It means even if it gets called away, you at least bought some more credit. Or just hold it and wait until or you could roll it out to the next expiration period. Because if you really look at how, and guys, okay, if this is no crypto talk, we're done with the crypto. I'm just addressing a couple of questions from Zifty on the options. Generally, we talk about it on Saturday, but because he had some couple of questions, I'll just address that and we'll call it a night. So let's look at, we were there back on you. In fact, I have a covered call on you. I don't know what your strike price is. My strike price is 160. And you're right, it's right now deep in the money. And I'm still holding it because we got a lot of extrinsic value left in that option right now because of the time that is still available. But what I'm planning to do in my personal account is maybe, sell a put or a put spread against it, collect some money. And if it goes higher, roll up the put and maybe roll this out, the short call to the next expiration period, collect more credit. Because this moves, these things don't happen often. So probably it will cool down, but when it will happen, we don't know. So if I want to give a little more time to myself, I mean, December 70th is still a long way out. That is why I haven't done any defensive action on that yet. But if it continues to stay here, I'll probably take an action on my account, do it later. But it's good for us because I sold that call when this was around 120. So already is up $40. So portfolio is happy. So that's what I'll do, Zifty. There are a couple of things sell a put spread or a put to collect more credit, roll it out to the next expiration period, collect more credit, or you can still hold it because there is a lot of extrinsic value still left in it, and maybe it cools down, come back. So these are the various options. LCID. I didn't trade on LCIDs and Rivians of the world. Yeah, especially these. I mean, I won't do a covered call if I really want to make some, especially things like Rivian, Lucid Motors, any of these really hot stocks, hot sectors. If you really want to do it, maybe do a, sell a call spread, because these are all run by emotions, and emotions can continue to pump the stock irrespective of how ridiculous the price may look like. And in that case, we don't want to be, cut short our gains. It's still a gain, but hey, we probably got out sooner and didn't ride all the way up. Better is to maybe sell a call spread on such stocks than doing or sell on our portions. For example, for Unity, I have more than 100 shares, so I sold only one covered call so that other shares can still continue to ride, enjoy the ride up. All right, then that's it for today. Well, thank you. And like I said, we'll not have any session next week. I'll cancel it on the meetup as well. And happy Thanksgiving to you all. And we'll talk again on week after next. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much. We'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Yes, sure.